Hello and good morning. Today, another piece of fuckery has occurred just as I've woken up, and so we have to get into the news immediately. I made a screen recording, and I was talking during the screen recording, but apparently it doesn't record mic audio when I screen record on my phone. So let's get into this now. I downloaded the screen recording, and I'll talk over it now as we review it. So the gist of this is that I got a call from my probation officer, and I called them back. And this is about the color code thing, which I don't know why they sent me this, but they sent me that right as I was starting to screen record. But there's a company called Shadow Track, which is a third party company, and which I didn't really want them on my phone, but they're on my phone regardless because it's an app. I don't know why they need an app to text me, but they usually text me a notification when I have a urine screen. Usually it's the next day. But today I got a voicemail. Why is it not going forward? Okay, yeah, sure. Today I got a voicemail about the color code right there. Um, so I don't know why they left a voicemail instead of texting, but my probation officer called me, and as you can see, 8:17 a.m. was when I got the voicemail about having the urine screen tomorrow. Then she called me at 9:37 a.m. and I called back once I woke up at 9:47 a.m. And basically most of the message was that she said that color code couldn't reach me or something like that, and that she was like, "Oh, I don't usually have this problem with you." And it sounded like she was saying that I did something wrong. And it sounded like she was like, I don't know what her personal intentions are, but I'm looking at her as part of a system that is trying to uh, unfairly control me and put me in situations that make me look like the bad person when I'm not. So once again, her personally, I'm not making an assumption about her intention, but it felt like it was an opportunity that they were taking to say, "Oh, we something like, oh, you're blocking our contact or something like that." But I'm not. I didn't change anything. I didn't change anything on my phone. Something changed on their end, and it sounds like they were trying to. Once again, I don't know about her personal intention, but it sounds like the system was like trying to blame me for this. And then I showed that the app. I went and I looked at the app because I'm like, okay, well they have an app, right? On my phone they have an app, and for some reason it stayed active right here, but it kept shutting down. I would pull it up and it would shut down, and it stayed active here while I went and I managed to change the setting that they were asking for. There, I changed the setting, and then I go back, and I'm telling you, there's something super suspicious about this app. I even reported it to the NSA. I can't remember the exact wording that I used, but I'm like, I'm pretty sure state protocol shouldn't be requiring me to install a third party app that allows them to have access to my phone. Now, after that, I got my house got swatted and they took my phone and they probably installed some sort of tapping mechanism regardless, or a software tapping software regardless. So I mean, it's a moot point at that. um Another reason why I'm just sharing all this, because it's like, even if I just talk about it to myself, it's probably going to get recorded regardless, so I might as well share. But then the freaking app, it keeps, I got it on film where it keeps shutting down. Open up, and then it sits there, and then it shuts down. And I even made a distinction between what it looks like when it just shuts down like that and when I try to shut it down. But it shut down before I can even swipe it on this one. So I'd just like to reiterate, I shouldn't even be on this color code. I've never heard the word color code used for a urine screen before this office. Um, I shouldn't even be on this because I completed my drug treatment program, which was an inpatient year, like, well, no, not a year. It was inpatient for 2 months. And then, then I think it was outpatient for like a year as part of my probation. And Maryland didn't complete the interstate transfer properly. And then because they lied on my paperwork just to get it done and didn't go, hey, actually, we messed up. They didn't. It's all because no one else in this situation is going, hey, I'm sorry, we messed up. This kid didn't do this, or it's not what we reported. Every single fucking person just keeps going, oh, well, we don't have to say that. We're just going to fucking lie. We're just going to fucking lie. Because I don't care about this person. I'm just making money and I don't want to get in trouble. You shouldn't have to get in trouble to admit you made a mistake. You should just be able to say, hey, wait, hold up. This wasn't right. We need to change this because we're just torturing this motherfucker. And we need to stop torturing him. But apparently, then, instead of that, everyone just goes, no, let's just keep torturing him. It's fine. Which is really sick and not in the good way. So, I don't know who else the fuck to report this to, so I'm going to report it to the CIA again. This is what, my fourth report as of late? They have a website too. I'm getting text from Elon right now, which feels all connected. It all feels connected. Why am I like this is a lot of stuff happening early in the morning already. And while he's just sending me what seems like he's sending me an innocent like Instagram thing, have I ever heard of this sim racing? No, I haven't. It just all seems connected, that like is all happening at once, I guess. Usually, I could be wrong, but usually this means that a bunch of people are dealing with the same type of shit, and I'm just speaking out about it. That's usually what the fuck this means. Some sort of organized terrorist attack is occurring right now. And I don't even know if these reports are going through to the CIA. They should be getting them, but considering how fucking crazy life is. And once again, like I said, I wish I could just report to it like a literal CIA officer or report to an NSA officer or walk in the motherfucking buildings and say, "Hey, I'm Alex Stewart. You guys know who I am by now." But there is so much motherfucking corruption in the government right now. I cannot even begin to tell you. Actually, I am beginning to tell you. I am beginning to tell you. How did I report them to the NSA? I can't even remember. Or did I report them to the CIA? I don't remember. Anyway, my point is that I'm not even supposed to be on this urine screen, and I know that, and I've said that, and the last probation officer that I had in Virginia was like, "Yeah, I get that. Let's see if we can get you off of it." And then right before the time when he was going to submit for ending the color code, the ending the urine screen, and he was also going to submit for an early release from probation, they changed they took him and they moved him to a different location, and then the state police swatted my house and issued 2 more felonies, and then they reinstated this new probation officer, which I'm not jumping to conclusions about her, but the point is that it was super fucking suspicious the way it happened. Now, okay, if you are at the CIA office and you received that report that I just sent in, I may have reported them to you and not the NSA. Now that I'm looking at this, or maybe comment. Either way, I'm gonna report them now to the NSA. So I'm still gonna go to the color code. What the? Why is it doing that? I'm just trying to. Let me do it this way. What the hell? Please. For further information regarding this inquiry, please communicate with CIA office and obtain report I have just sent them. I don't need a response. That puts me at risk if I ask for a response because it basically makes it seem like I want something from them when I don't want something from them. I want something for them. I want them to do their job, and I'm trying to help them do their job. But I don't need them to get back to me because I don't, frankly, don't want to be involved in any of this. And yet, here I am, against my motherfucking will, having to deal with all this bullshit. Okay, I hope that clarifies this, and I'm pretty sure that me uploading this stuff to private on YouTube, even though it's just supposed to be for me, people like the CIA and the NSA should be able to see this stuff. Wait, let me see if I can report it to the FBI too. Oops, I said FBT. I'm not going to. I'm not going to report it to the FBI because if I go CIA, NSA, FBI, that's pretty fucked. I think as long as I don't. Oh, wait, maybe I could submit a tip. Okay, they make it seem pretty nonchalant. Federal crime submit tips. Yep, that's exactly what I need. Submit a tip. It just says they won't be considered. That's fine. As long as there's no punitive, I'm not lying. Well, it's definitely all of these issues at once. Yes, this is definitely what it is, but let's see. Probably this one. I think it's this, though. It, I think this is what it is. Oh, no, they don't. Wait, international to domestic terror. Let's just go back and report it as corruption. No, actually, never mind. It counts more as terrorism than it does as it counts. Okay, good. I don't want to do that. Do you have any information about who committed the crime? Uh, yes. Oh no, it's not that serious. It's not that specific. Let's go back to corruption. It's not in prison, although it's pretty. Let's just say no. I don't. Yes. Ah, see, they make this too specific. If I had a different issue, that would be easier to report. Let's try cybercrime. Mm, See, this is why I think reporting to the FBI is a little bit different. Yeah, this is for more like when you have compiled your information in a more um what's it called? A more organized manner. I'm just trying to document this shit and try to send it to people who can do more documenting on their own because I'm in a position where yes, I'm trained to see these things and yes, I'm trained to be able to report them, but I'm also in a position where I still have to live my normal civilian life. And balancing these two things where it's like basically I'm acting as what seems to be like an undercover officer. I wouldn't call myself an undercover officer. I would call myself what would I be? I just don't consider myself undercover because I have no problem explaining to anybody exactly why I do what I do, which is just that I grew up in this area being publicly educated about the way these things work, and in a family that's well educated and has a history dealing with things of this manner. But it crosses the line when I'm starting to actually put more time into trying to document this stuff and organize it, and that I'm not just telling the professionals. These are the professionals. Those are the people who are, well, let me rephrase that. I can operate at a professional level on this stuff, but what my point is I don't get paid to do this stuff. I'm supposed to be focusing on my school, on my recovery, and on my family life and stuff like that. And I'm supposed to be using these people as a, like the CIA, NSA, FBI. They're supposed to be part of a support system to make sure that I can focus on those things. And it looks like the CIA and the NSA forms were pretty simple. I could just write a statement. But the FBI forms are a little bit more complex, it looks like. And so if I'm going to report something on that, I think I need a little more time to formulate and have to be, it seems a little more serious. And while my situation is serious, I can't freak out and start doing all that stuff or else it'll put me in a bad place. I can't just start going into documenting things like that or else it'll put me in a bad place. So once again, I wouldn't consider, you can, like, if it helps you understand what the fuck I am and who I'm doing, if you want to consider me an undercover officer, I mean, insofar as it helps you understand, sure. But I would probably, you know what I would say is that you should just look at me as a well-educated and a well-dedicated soldier. And that you should understand that just because you may or may not have a bunch of clicky, typey things in your computer about me, that doesn't necessarily determine who I am or what my clearances are, etc. You should be able to look at me, get to know me better, understand what I'm capable of and why I do these things. And I don't mean what I'm capable of as a threat. I know people sometimes say that to try to intimidate people. I mean that as, like, understand how I grew up, the skills that I developed along the way, what my values are, and what I practice. And I would really like it if I could get some more communication between all of these different agencies with me personally, because it's really important. And that I think that what the main problem is that everything is locked behind paywalls and stuff like that, where it's like, oh, well, if I don't get paid, or if someone does one thing slightly wrong, then there's punishment. It's like, no, I don't need to get paid, but you should be able to communicate with me without fear of punitive action. I should be able to communicate with you about these things because I'm aware of them. And we shouldn't have to take too much time doing this either. I don't need to ride along with you every day or whatever. I just need to live my life, and I need to be able to communicate with people because there's some fucked up shit going on. Essentially, what it comes down to is that I'm a problem solver and that these agencies exist. I'll say it this way. The people within the agency are people, but the agencies themselves exist as tools. And they're supposed to exist as tools for people like me to solve problems like this. Like what I'm going through. And so if they can't function like that, or the problem doesn't get resolved, then I have to take it upon myself, not to assume too many things, but I have to make a baseline assumption that what's going on is not functioning properly. And well, what it comes down to is my brain, I always leave this last thing, but what it does is it says prepare for combat. That's what this says to me. And that's the last line of like, there's a bunch of like, between, okay, these situations might be corrupt and I'm supposed to rely on them, There's then a buffer of, okay, well, I'm just going to keep trying to do what I'm doing and hope that it doesn't lead to something horrible, because what I'm doing shouldn't lead to something horrible. But that at the back of my mind, I always know this could potentially mean prepare for combat because I'm being threatened. My freedoms are being taken from me without due process, or at least they're trying to take them from me. Well, they did. They did take some of my freedoms away. And they're interfering with my pursuit of happiness. Long story short. So once again, I'm trying to communicate with people involved, and these agencies and companies and everything, when they make mistakes and then I suffer as a result, it's an indication that things are not operating properly. And frankly, I would probably be better off without any interference. But if they're going to be involved, I would like at least the whole system to work and help. I would probably be better off without any law enforcement interacting with me at all. Because I'm not making money. I'm not hurting anybody. If any, it's always been them hurting me. And then any evidence that you have of quote unquote me hurting them is just me finally fucking lashing out because no one helped me. And if you knew me and you cared about me, you would understand that. And you should know me and care about me if you think that you have the power to force me into a situation. And it should always be for my benefit, not to harm me. And you shouldn't have to force me into these situations. And I still don't have any evidence that they're not filming me when I do these color codes. I still don't have any evidence that they're not filming my private parts when I do these urine screens. And once again, it's not about my genitals being on camera. I was born on camera, okay? And I was circumcised that same day. I was born on camera. That's not the issue. The issue is the agency and control with which my likeness is being used and whether or not it's against my will and by force. And even if they're not filming me or taking pictures of my genitals while I'm doing urine screens, it doesn't change the fact that if I don't do them, I'm basically going to be threatened with firearms and threatened with kidnapping. And that's still forceful exposure, no matter what the context, and especially since they're using a third party company to run the operation. It kind of just leads to the fact that this is an act of terrorism against me because of what happened with, well, what happened with me and Sonia is one thing, Ksenia Krugliakova. And I think people just feel entitled to try to humiliate me and stuff because they like to look at that case and go, oh, well, he's obviously an abuser, when it was actually the other way around, and I was just trying to get out of the cycle of abuse. And actually, that case is really fucking crazy. So if NSA, CIA, FBI, if you're watching, the FBI agent who came, FBI agent, I didn't see any identification. You're definitely supposed to show me a badge from the FBI if you're gonna identify yourself as an FBI officer. Once again, I remember this from living here and getting a public education. You didn't show me a badge, so I have labeled you as a terrorist. Even if you're a real officer, you're supposed to show me your badge. When they came to my house and they took the Vault 7 files, I told them about Ksenia, and I encouraged them to look deeper into the issue, and I hope they did. But considering that she didn't even show me a badge, I'm not so sure she did, and she very well may have just been another state police officer posing as a federal employee, which I'm 100% sure is a severe crime, if that's what that was. Well, it is a severe crime regardless of if that's what that was, and if that's what that was, then they committed a severe crime, which I already know they committed tons of severe crimes. But the question is, how corrupt is the system right now? And God, if you're listening, now would be a great time to tap in. Because I am doing my best. I'm doing what I'm supposed to. And I'm getting the impression that motherfuckers are just trying to stop me from that. And if that's not what's happening, I'm hoping it's at least split. I'm hoping at least if there's some people trying to stop me from doing the right thing, that there's also some people who want me to do the right thing and are frustrated with the corruption also and want to help me. And themselves. It's not just about me. I'm one person out of all these people involved. All right. Well, that's my comments for right now for this morning. I'm going to try to calm down, and I have a therapy appointment. So, later.